More importantly, how comfortable you are going to be. It depends on how well it fits you and the baby.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you're both comfortable, I think you can go on for a long period of time, and it's definitely worth you investing that little amount of time just to find the right kind of carrier, even if it means traveling, you absolutely need to find something like that simply because if not, you may end up hurting yourself, or worse still, we actually aggravate certain existing problems that a baby already has.
Hi there, welcome to another episode of Shift with Shubhra. I am your host, Shubhra Vanetti, and I am a certified sleep consultant for children and for adults. I'm also a baby science program instructor, as well as an Akashic light healing practitioner. And on today's episode, we have Pearline Foo. And Pearline is the owner of Baby Slings and Carriers based here in Singapore. And we're going to be talking all things about baby wearing. So this is a special episode that I wanted to do, especially for our parents out there. If you're a expecting first-time parent and you've seen people walk around with these sort of backpack looking type of bag things that are sort of like a harness, and they've got their babies in there, and you're wondering, oh, should I get one of those, and when should I get it, and which brand and which carrier? My friend has this, or I should get it on sale, or should I get one? Does daddy need one? Should it be a cloth? Should it not be a cloth? Should it be a ring sling? What is a ring sling? And all of these questions and more, then today's episode is definitely something you want to be tuning in for. Practiced for centuries around the world, baby wearing is the practice of wearing or carrying your baby in a sling or another form of a carrier. Carrying your baby in a sling or carrier is a great way to meet the needs for warmth, closeness, and also sometimes even for sleep at some points. And it's great for both mothers and babies. So today we have Pearline Foo. She's the brainchild as well as a principal consultant and chief baby wearing specialist and fitting trainer of baby slings and carriers in Singapore. She's also one of the pioneers in the business and has brought most of the trainings from overseas for people to become baby wearing consultants. She was the one responsible predominantly to bring those consultants over to Singapore to do the training so that more baby wearing consultants are around in Singapore. And basically, she's going to be sharing a lot about, the safe way of carrying the baby, the most correct way, and she is going to be talking about things that you want to keep in mind, how a carrier should work for you, for your purpose, your needs, and how you would determine those things, and maybe what things you should consider before you go to a consultant, and why it's always a good idea to go to a consultant to get a proper carrier, or whether it's a sling, a wrap, or a carrier to carry your little baby, as well as explaining the differences maybe in different age kinds. So if it's a newborn baby, if it's an older baby, if it's a toddler, you might want to consider which carrier suits those needs. So she's been advocating and acting as a baby wearing specialist and fitter consultant since 2007. She's done more than 10,000 baby wearing fittings under her belt, like 10,000 babies, guys, 10,000. And she's basically the pioneer of the baby wearing industry here in Singapore. So I am so excited that you are getting the opportunity to join us in this conversation with Pearline Foo to talk all things about baby wearing. And I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us in this episode. I hope you enjoy it. Do like, share, subscribe, and comment, and write to us if you have other ideas for our upcoming episodes. So enjoy the episode. All right, so welcome to Shift with Shubhra, Pearline. Thank you so much for joining us. And I just wanted you to probably share a little bit with our viewers and listeners today about what is it that you do? Why do you do it? I already kind of spoke about it in the introduction that, you are all things baby wearing in Singapore. You were the pioneer for bringing baby wearing education to Singapore. But I just wanted you to probably, because you're probably going to explain yourself a lot better than I would. How did the journey start? Where did it all come from? And then what is it that you're doing now with baby wearing in Singapore?
Hi. Thank you very much for having me on the show, Subra. and I'm very honored to be here today to share with your viewers about baby wearing. All right, for people who are not clear what baby wearing is, it basically means putting on a carrier on yourself. It can be a sling, a wrap, or a carrier. These are different things. It's very interesting how people always lump them together. But if we think about it, it's actually just one term, baby wearing. It doesn't matter what kind of device you use. But so baby wearing in Singapore was very, very new. We started baby slings and carriers 13 in 2007. So that's about 13 years ago. So it's been that long. We, as you rightfully pointed out, we were the pioneers in ergonomic baby wearing. Doesn't mean that we started baby wearing. We didn't. All right. It's an age-old tradition. People in villages or hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, they have always managed by putting their kids on themselves, their babies on themselves, so that they could go about their daily activities. And how did they do that? Of course, things were very different back then. And over time, I would say that things have changed now because there are so many devices in the world. And when we started like 13, 14 years ago, people don't know much about baby wearing. It's so strange, you know, with Subra, when you know, in the past it's something that's natural to everyone, but somehow with the evolution of time, people become more technologically advanced, and you know, with all the things that's happening these days, modern people kind of lost the touch, and we kind of become a little bit more divorced from our babies. And that's when, like, maybe about five, maybe a bit more than that, about 8 to 10 years ago, baby wearing started to take on a bigger importance when most parents start to also see the benefits of baby wearing, how it also affects breastfeeding outcomes, and helping them to get in touch or to bond with their babies, fathers included, all right? And that's when baby wearing actually started to grow. So I was very fortunate. Out of need, I had to start baby wearing because I've got two kids who are very close in age. They are 1 year apart, one calendar year apart, and I was without help. So I could only manage if I baby wear them, and strollers didn't cut it then, because I was living in an apartment and there's a lot of steps. There's no lift to my apartment, and how are you going to go out? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
With this big stroller, and your baby needs to be carried up. The stroller was too heavy for me to carry up the stairs. So that's where it all started.
Right.
I started by having a friend gifting me a baby sling.
Okay.
So you know what's a baby sling? So it's
the one with the ring,
yeah.
kind of fabric.
Yeah. You're right.
Just the
Absolutely
fabric
right.
without the belt and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. The simpler version.
Yeah. So that's in like maybe 15 years ago in Singapore. There was a brand, actually a Singapore brand.
Oh.
Very interesting. So my friend gifted me this brand because she's friends with the owner. It was very small then, but I was very thankful because the baby carrier that I bought before I gave birth was not useful at all.
Oh, really?
Firstly, I bought it at a sale. Didn't know anything about all this.
Yeah.
And then, of course, back then, not just because there were no products, but knowledge of it was very, very limited. Even if you have the internet, all right, there wasn't very much information. And I kind of just bought something on sale, like all mothers do, new mothers. It's like sale.
Same, yeah.
I'll just go buy.
Yeah. Absolutely. I did the exact same thing, bought something on sale. Not that it was any bad of a carrier, it was great. I think just for what I was truly looking for in terms of the fit, in terms of the comfort, in terms of the movability, I was so shocked that obviously there are so many different brands, there's so many different styles, there's so many different ways that you can also use it, but also even though you can use it this way and this way and this way,
Yeah.
you need to also find the right one for your body type and what your actual day to day is going to look like, because not necessarily are you going to be in situations where you might need to hip carry, like on the side, like side hip carry
Yeah.
all the time. So having a carrier that does that is all well and great, but if it's not going to serve the purpose that way, then maybe you don't need to get something that's going to have a side and this and a that and that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but please do tell us. Like, I think your main thing about, especially for your company, is a lot about the fit. So does the fit really matter? Like, can you just get any carrier? And obviously every carrier will do the job, but should you just get any carrier that's easily available to you?
Well, firstly, before I go on,
Yeah.
I must say, lucky you. You had a plethora of carriers to choose from, and that's fantastic.
True.
In my day, there wasn't anything.
True.
So the ring sling, the humble ring sling, was my savior. The carrier that I bought, unfortunately, was broken.
Oh no.
Even I didn't know if it was broken, and I put my child in, the buttons were not buttoning properly, and it's not secure. So it's not just about ergonomics. But back to your question about feet. Okay, baby slings and carriers is into getting the right fit. In fact, that's what we hope to do, to educate the community in the environment that we live in. So that is actually our overarching mission, to actually have people understand that this is very, very important to get the right fit. A lot of people don't understand that, hey, the carrier that you saw on internet that everyone is raving about may not be the one for you.
Yeah. And why is that?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Why not? Why not? I mean, you and I on screen,
Can see the difference.
we look normal,
Yeah.
like, we all got heads, hands, nose, everything, right? Limbs and stuff. But the truth is, everyone's shapes are different. Their body proportions are different.
Yeah.
So there is no one size fits all. Even if your friend raves about the carrier that they have, it could fit them very well, and good for them. I'm very happy. But the thing is that it may not fit somebody else or you yourself any better than your friend. And not to mention, it's not just about your body shapes or proportion. Okay, there's also things to consider, like adjustability.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people buy them when you're pregnant. I mean, first thing I did when I found out was, so many things to buy.
Yeah.
I buy everything.
Get
Yeah.
myself all prepared.
And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're kind of like trained to be efficient and stuff like that, right? Excitement, just go buy. And at the end of the day, you're going to get something that doesn't work out for you.
Yeah.
You haven't considered things like how to wear them. And fit wise, you also have to think about not just yourself, because when you buy them before you're pregnant, especially for the sized carriers, you will realize that after birth, there are things like, are you breastfeeding?
Yeah.
Are your boobs going to grow?
Yeah.
Or did you buy in your third trimester where you're obviously more swollen?
Yeah.
And after you've given birth, you kind of lose that weight slowly. And is that carrier you've bought adjustable or comfortable enough to carry you through as the child gets heavier? And then not to mention the weight distribution.
Yeah.
Not every carrier is born the same, manufactured the same. There obviously are models that the carrier companies use when they make the sizes or base their designs on. So there are straps that are longer, some are shorter,
right.
obviously, because the owners themselves are different in shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
So you kind of expect that to fit onto you, right? Having said that, not just about your body proportions and adjustability, but you also have to think about your other half.
Yeah.
Are you going to share that carrier?
Yeah.
Then that's another set of body proportions.
Yeah.
And one thing people often forget, the baby.
Yeah. The baby's proportions on top of that.
Yes, you look at a baby, a 3.5 kilograms baby at birth. If you put two of them together, they're exactly 3.5 kilograms. They can feel very different. It depends on how dense the body weight is.
Yeah.
Because you can have a very small baby and it's very heavy.
Yeah.
Short limbs. Some have long torsos,
Yeah.
short limbs.
Yeah.
Some have short torsos, long limbs.
That's me.
And they're going to weigh 3.5 kilos. And you're like, oh, hey, does the carrier that you did the carrier you buy fit this child? And what about the baby's preferences? All right.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, there are so many things that that you actually need to think about when you purchase a carrier. It's not just about if I put it simply, it's not the fit is actually going to affect how you feel.
Yeah.
How the baby feels.
Right.
And how easy it is for you to actually go about your daily lifestyle with it.
Yeah.
You've got to consider whether you're going to breastfeed. And whether baby has certain conditions, like some babies like to bury their heads inside the mom's chest, or they like to tip their heads, things like this. They are very, very important considerations, and how comfortable you are holding the baby. Okay, so especially for a first-time parent, if you are not very sure how to handle your baby, then obviously you want to select something that's quick to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the idea of having something that's totally flexible. And that's what we recommend for most parents, if we have our way.
Yeah. Exactly.
So rather trick is if we have our way.
Yes.
What do I mean by if we have our way? What do you think? I mean, when I tell you something like that, if I have my way, I'll just say, okay, just choose something that's totally flexible. You can mold it to your baby and your shape and your husband's shape and or your wife's shape. What do you think of a statement like this?
So it's the kind of same thing for sleep, right? We always tell parents that, yeah, if everything could be a magic wand and I could check every box, that'd be great, but it's kind of almost impossible to do that. Like you might get something that works for everyone and it's super like clockwork and it's super like works with your schedule, works with this person's schedule and everything. And sometimes you just have to go with really the bare needs of one, the child, making sure the child is absolutely safe, is absolutely rested, and supported, and then you have a life that sort of works a little bit around that. Because you brought the being into life. So
I mean, there are so many variables. The child would be actually the wild card, number one wild card. They are always the kings.
Yes.
We have to look at them first.
Yeah.
And then we have to look at the parents themselves. It's not just about the feet, but it's also about how wearable it is for them. So why I said if we have our way is because if I have a piece of cloth, I can mold it to you. It's totally unstructured. But is it practical? Is it practical? Yes. I mean, the question is, we do have to take note that also baby's milestones are what I forgot to talk about earlier on. How not just the baby's shape, but the baby, an infant obviously is different from a baby who already is able to sit unassisted.
Yes.
You know, the body, the spine is not strong enough yet.
Yes.
They can't hold their heads up. The neck's not strong enough. The heads are heavy and floppy. So we need support for all of this. So that's one consideration. And if you can get a very flexible carrier like the Sling or the Rep, they are perfect for newborns.
Yeah.
All right. And for the Rep itself, you know what a Rep is?
Yeah, the big fabric, the long fabric.
Yes, a long fabric, say about 5 meters or plus minus, and then you kind of tie it around yourself. If you are able to do a very, very good job, you take out all pressure points for the baby and yourself.
Oh.
depending on the fabric. All right. So
Okay.
I say it's perfect,
Yeah.
but we can't always have our way. Why?
Mm.
Because there are times that parents, being new parents, first time parents, how many people know how to hold a newborn?
Yeah. And then on top of that, try and wrap a fabric along and get that all like properly snug and all of that as well, like perfectly.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
lot.
I mean, even now, there are so many baby wearing consultants around. I'm not sure whether you have heard of baby wearing consultants, or
I have.
our
I
audience have.
actually, I don't know, but I'm sure in our audience, if you do type in baby wearing consultants in Singapore, a lot of them come up. Obviously there's you, there's Renette, there's Jasmine, there's Kai Hui, there's the
Yon,
Fiona, yeah, sorry,
Yon,
Fiona,
yes.
yes. I mean, that's just to name a few, but there are so many,
There are so many,
actually.
right?
I mean, and you started the
Oh,
education
we're very
classes for that.
fortunate. We are a very small community for now. We know each other. They came, and when the trainers were here, and we organized the training.
Yeah,
So that there were more people who can benefit. We just back to, okay, having more people understand about ergonomic baby wearing so that they can spread the word. It's just not about me. It's about the community at
mm,
large. And so what happens is that for baby wearing consultants, even as we were talking about reps, right?
yeah,
Even for us, it takes a bit of effort to get a rep properly done.
yeah, mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So every single time is a fresh new job.
yeah,
So you could be rushing,
yes,
for example,
mm,
and you're, oops, popping out.
mm,
So, I mean, even for somebody who's trained and experienced, you may find that at times, yeah, you're not able to get that small little kink out.
yeah,
So, obviously, for a noob, a new parent who's not used to handling a new baby, they don't know what it feels like and where
mm,
it's going wrong. So for parents like this who are a bit more worried about holding their babies, then I would say maybe you go for something that's more, that can easily be managed by you. We
yeah,
might have to compromise a little bit
yes,
in
yes,
terms of the exact
mm,
moldability,
mm,
but we achieve a 90%, 95%, or
mm.
even a 98%. That's not too bad, right?
Yeah, no, not at all, not at all. So, in terms of just really quickly, because I do want to talk about the community of consultants as well, so that at least our listeners and viewers know that
Sure.
there are many out there that can help you with this, right? Obviously, if you want to
Yes.
come straight to Perlin, there is going to be that, but I'm also going to put in the show notes the community so that you can, they have a Facebook group that you can sort of just join. You can ask, and a lot of the consultants are already there, and then you can
Mm-hmm.
reach out to them as well, and then they will, and that's kind of how it started with me. So I bought one carrier, I went to Fio, and she taught me how to put it on, and then I was kind of like, this is great, but I'm not so great. And she actually lent me a ring sling, and that was so much easier for a newborn than using the little baby carrier that I was using at that point. And then I was just like, the little baby was really good for my husband because of his frame, and this is the whole thing about body frames as well, because he's a lot more wider in terms of his torso, but I'm wide than small than what I'm very hourglass, right? So it wasn't very comfortable for me. So I got in touch with Kai Hui, and then Kai Hui came over, and then I actually chose I'm gonna mess up the name now. I think it's Lenny Lamb, the Lenny Lamb sort of like wrap type of thing. It's like semi wrapping and semi like cloth, but it's also a carrier, so it's got a belt, and that was really comfortable. But then it's like not very practical when we were on airplanes because I would just be like opening the wrap here on the aisleway and then putting the baby, and I've got the strap, and then I'm trying to wrap it all over, and then so then I had to progress and I get something else. So then I went to the Letty Up, the actual buckle carrier. Then that was great for winter, but then in summer in Singapore heat, that was a little bit too much for us, especially
Ah.
because we sweat. And I'm also like, my husband also is generally a warm person. Let's just say he's warm blooded. I'm not as. So then, so I've ended up having like 3 or 4 just for different situations. Now I'm not saying that everyone needs to do this. I'm not saying that at all, but it just goes to show that if we had gone straight from the beginning to at least go to someone and say, this is what we want, this is what we want to achieve. And maybe should they go after they have the baby more likely than going before? It's, I think, the main question I really wanted to come to with that big story was, when is the most ideal time to get a carrier? And, would it be more ideal to go to a consultant so that from the get-go you get the carrier straight away, or whatever, whether it's a sling, whether it's a wrapper, whether it's the actual carrier, you get it straight away from when the baby's already born? And maybe you have to get two, one for daddy and for you, just because you're two different people. Is that kind of like when you would go?
Yeah, this is the question on most parents' minds.
Yeah.
Actually, for baby slings and carriers, we do recommend that you have a think. Everyone's different, all right?
Yeah.
Some people get very jittery if they don't get prepared.
Mm.
And then you think about how prepared you are. Yeah. I mean, you need something because, the fact was that when I was born, my child was crying all the time. And I couldn't breastfeed properly for the first week. So I was really, really upset all the time. And if I didn't have something to use, I mean, I wasn't fortunate enough to already have something that I can use right away. And nobody told me that this ring sling was so darn difficult to use. Okay,
Yes.
It's not just to
It's not, but it is
just to let you guys know that it really is not. It's all about selecting the right fabric, the right kind of cutting, and that you really need help to go to a place with a proper consultant, not just a proper consultant, but unbiased opinion.
Yes.
All right, because these days we have consultants, yes, lots of consultants, but at the end of the day, why baby slings and carriers preach about having the right fit and not focusing on the brand is simply because everyone's needs are different.
Yeah.
Preferences are different, and then we got to see how ready people are in terms of using or how they adjust. And during a consultation for a parent who has not yet had their baby, we typically will pass them a fake baby. We teach them how to hold them. Have it try. Let me see how you handle, and then I know how this person is like how well they're going to adapt when the baby comes along. We have an idea. Of course, I'm not saying that if they are not able to handle now, they can't handle them. I'm just saying that there is a higher chance of the parent being very panicky.
Yes.
And then we may recommend different things based on that. And during the fitting itself, they can actually find out if they like a sling or a wrap.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the two main ones that we normally recommend for parents who have not had their babies and want to get prepared, and if they are open. All right, because these two are the ones that we can mold very well to them. And obviously we'll be going for example the ring sling. Just now we said it's so darn difficult to use. It took me about 6 weeks to be able to get out of the house, and was driving me nuts because my baby was crying all the time. But once I managed to put her in, know how to adjust, well, not very well, but enough for me to get out without her dropping down. Okay, it was fabulous. But ring slings, they come in different fabrics and mix. So obviously during a fitting session, we will recommend something that's easier for the parents to manipulate. Something that doesn't need breaking in. And then for wraps, we will be going for something that's elastic. Okay, not wrap like carriers. I know these days there are sizes. We try not to go for sizes because obviously if you buy something before baby is born and after baby is born, your shape might change.
Yes.
And we normally for wrap, we go for something more elastic. And you can place the baby in. Everyone can use it, including the helper, the husband, or a nanny. All right. And typically we'll recommend easier to use wraps that are with gentle stretch, and it's able to cater to, I would say, in my last 13 years and more than 10,000 personal successful fittings, very few people can use it. So these are important considerations. But then again, just now I mentioned about like some parents, they feel that, slings and reps are not for them because there's no structure.
Sure. Yeah.
Some people just need to have that structure,
Yes.
right? It's easy to buckle and they can't hold a baby this way, that way. Then we recommend something simple, like for example, the Manduka carrier, the new XTs.
Yeah.
That's fully adjustable
Yes.
and you can do. There are a couple in the market, but you really have to find the right fit.
Yeah.
And we usually recommend those that we have confidence in servicing. Why I mention this is that, Subra, you ask about whether they should buy it before or after the baby is born. So for parents who need to get prepared and they don't want a sling and a wrap, we look at the body proportions of the parents and we recommend something to them that they can actually use after birth.
Okay.
We do have to support them. Actually, baby slings and carriers believe in supporting them so that, you don't buy something and then it ends up in the rubbish. Don't contribute to waste.
Yeah.
It's it's an eco thing. So we preach that as well. So we offer a 2-year support program. Carriers can come back.
Yeah.
Because I have to support them, our colleagues have to support them. We have to pick something that works.
Yeah.
All right. And typically something that is able to at least see them for the next half a year to a year. But we normally set the expectations for these parents and then they can decide after the feeding if they would like to get a carrier.
Right.
All right. And some people after the feeding, they feel that, after you've shared so much with us, we decided that maybe, just maybe, I think will come after the baby is born. But then there are some people who will come to check out before they did the fitting, and then they figure out it might be better to get something that's not too pricey.
Yeah.
So that they can live through the first few months without having to worry. And these parents, I must say, I kowtow to them. They do take the effort to actually learn to put it on. And we normally tell them, okay, we've got YouTube videos as well. So if you could practice a couple of times, you can go to the hospital and bring your baby back in that. And that's going to be a lot more comfortable, easier to manage.
Yes.
And if the baby is a high need baby, there you have it. You don't have to worry about getting out of your house. You know how to use it. You can bring your child to the baby well checkups. And in the first 2 months, you don't worry about anything.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. And then, of course, there's the other group that, if you're looking to try many other carriers, structured ones, so they are soft structured, hard structured, and semi-hard structured. We coin new terms here.
Yeah.
So semi-hard structured would be those that don't move as well sometimes. It's a bit harder. You can't roll it until it's very soft and very small. So that's semi-hard. We don't call it exactly hard because it doesn't support the child. Hard structures are out for us.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So for those people who want to have more options as to the carrier brands and styles, then they might want to come after the baby is born. We've actually got here at Baby Slings and Carriers, the showroom. We do house visits as well, but most people come to the showroom because obviously you have more selection. Yeah, you have more selections. And basically with that, during the fittings, they can try it out with their babies after the baby is born. And then you get to try a lot more. But just bear in mind, those who come after, you need to wait for babies 3.5 kilos. Or some people, they have a high need baby. We've seen babies as young as 2 or 3 days old already at our showroom doing fitting.
Okay. Yeah. So,
all right. We've got enough experience. I mean, we've done babies that are even very small, about 2 kilograms. That's like the smallest baby we've encountered. And for parents like this, they might want a little bit more hands-on and a little bit more advice with us on the spot, teaching them what to do. So parents like this with babies who are a bit on the smaller side or have special conditions, it always helps for us to be around. And if they have a doctor they are seeing and who's interested, I mean, we've got doctors here with us while the parents do the fitting out because
Oh, wow.
special situation,
Mm.
and we're happy to accommodate that because we are not medical professionals.
Yeah.
We work with anyone who works with the parents.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, is getting the right outcome,
Yeah.
which is to help the parents bond with the baby in a ergonomically superior way, and to actually help manage their lives with where the babies are concerned, and to help them get about just live a normal life, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you touched up upon it, but like, what are the ranges that are there? So there's wraps, there's slings. These are very good for like newborns, but of course there you can get other carriers that are like that. So you've got soft structured carriers, you've got semi soft structured carriers, and then you've got hard structured carriers, right? And is that
And hybrid carriers.
And hybrid carriers, of course we have hybrid. Like, it's just
everything is hybrid.
Everything is hybrid, absolutely, yes. And
don't you love modern?
I know,
modern, humanity.
Yeah. We'll just tweak a little bit and then we've made a whole category. Great, okay, awesome. So,
yeah. And you can't categorize them, you put them under hybrids.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And I think so in just for people wanting to select the right carrier as well, I think that's kind of the benefits of really going to a consultant, isn't it? That at least they will have that range for you to then determine what is the right fit for you and for your baby and for your partner, whoever else is doing it. I think what I wanted to ask really next was about the longevity of these carriers. So how long could you use it? Would you have to pay close attention or let your consultant know if you wanted to breastfeed in the carrier, for example, or not breastfeed in the carrier? Like, can you breastfeed while while the baby's in a carrier, for example? Could you probably just talk about like the longevity and the different uses of that when baby carrying?
Absolutely. I think it's very important to let the consultant know your lifestyle needs. And here, for us, we normally would ask them to consider things. And that's what our clients like, actually, is that we kind of bring up things that they haven't thought of. A lot of times people just think about a baby carrier as being something to carry baby when you go out.
Yeah, and without using your arms, so your arms are free. And that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But do you need it to calm your baby?
Yeah.
Do you need it to, because you've got a baby who wouldn't lie down on the bed, high needs baby, and baby just needs a bit more time. Doesn't mean that they can't get over. Some need more than others. And breastfeeding is another big thing, I think, because a lot of times people are not sure. I mean, they haven't thought about it. Not that they are not sure, but it's actually the consultant's job to actually bring up these things that a parent is most likely going to neglect when they are making a decision on the carriers.
Yep.
And why you should absolutely let your consultant know is because for example, carriers, you need it to be very snug around the baby. All right, because a young infant doesn't have the strength, the spine is not strong enough, and the head is big proportionately compared to the body, and you really need the carrier to actually support the baby's neck as well.
Yeah. And
of course the head. And as such, is breastfeeding even possible for an infant?
Yeah, is it?
I mean, you have to be realistic, all right? So I would normally, for us, we don't suggest that you put your child in a carrier that you're unfamiliar with and begin breastfeeding right away. I know we modern women want to do everything.
Yeah.
We've been trained to do that.
Trained to think like that as well.
Yes, yes, exactly. I agree with you. And what happens is that with this thinking, you have to let go. You have to understand that you just had a baby.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a new beginning for you. It's somebody you don't know yet. they've got their preferences, and you have to understand that they're not strong enough. They can't tell you things as well, can't tell you how they feel. They don't even know how they feel,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And there's so many things to manage. I think it's important that new moms learn how to cut themselves some slack
Yes.
and understand that breastfeeding and baby wearing are two separate skills.
Yes.
A lot of a lot of times breastfeeding is something that a lot of new moms are already struggling with, not just new moms. In fact, sometimes second time, third time moms who haven't successfully breastfed before, and they really want to do it, and now you're trying to put everything on the mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Not cool,
No
man. Society,
way.
not cool. Society. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not cool, and we've got to cut ourselves some slack and understand that there are different skills. And I mean, if people come to us after the baby is born, we kind of will advise them based on how they handle the baby, whether they could or could not. Normally in carriers, we do not suggest that for babies without neck support for the mom to breastfeed within the carrier. But for the slings and reps, because we kind of, if you choose the right one, you are able to adjust it so that you can do that. But provided the mom is proficient in adjusting.
Yes.
Again, it's two separate skills,
Yes.
all right? So if you are familiar with the carrier, with the sling, in fact, second time moms, they are so used to the carrier, they're using back the same carrier. Some come to us for consultations, and we could easily teach them, because from our touch points we have with them, we are able to gauge how is this mom handling the baby, which is the how do we teach them to adjust. It's dynamic, all right? So every parent is different. Some I might tell them, okay, you adjust this part, and this mom can, then I'll just tell them, okay, have the ring on the other side, or switch it around, that kind of stuff. We customize. And back to your question, can you breastfeed within a carrier? It's open.
Okay.
Carriers, less so. I don't recommend unless the mom is very familiar. Newborns, very unlikely.
Okay.
But you can do so with a sling and a wrap if you are experienced with the carriers themselves, the slings and the wraps.
Okay.
You can adjust them. If not, let the consultant know. They should be able to help you. Go, if they are not so able to, please know that it's possible. So maybe you can get some recommendations to go to someone who might have experienced all this before, and they can be better able to guide you.
Okay, so then really
it all depends on what you're hoping to achieve here.
Yeah, and I think maybe we can just clarify what is it that baby wearing really can achieve. So it can definitely achieve, for example, if you're struggling with your baby's sleep, them getting them into a carrier and getting them to sleep in a carrier is great. If you're struggling to put them down into crib, then carriers are another good go-to. For high needs, for sensitivity of wanting skin to skin and feeling comforted, and of course just general movability. If you need to use your arms, that they're just quite helpful to at least keep the baby with you. Baby's still not left by themselves, because they obviously probably want your touch, but they may not want to sleep, but they just want your touch. Then you can just put them in and then you can use your hands. So I think, have I covered all the sort of like uses?
You kind of summarized everything. That's what baby wearing is about. And more importantly, how comfortable you are going to be. It depends on how well it fits you and the baby. Because obviously if you're both comfortable, I think you can go on for a long period of time, and it's definitely worth you investing that little amount of time just to find the right kind of carrier, even if it means traveling. You absolutely need to find something like that, simply because if not, you may end up hurting yourself, or worse still, we actually aggravate certain existing problems that a baby already has.
Yes.
I mean, so good if you don't have. That's great.
Yeah.
But we just
okay.
want to rule all of this out.
Yeah. Thanks so much for tuning into the first part of today's conversation. Don't forget to tune in next week as we drop part 2 of this conversation.